Good afternoon and welcome to the 2021 Division I Women's Soccer Selection Show. I'm your host, Will Haskett. And if there was any unfinished business from last season's championship, well, turnaround's been pretty short as we get the benefit of 2 College Cups in the same calendar year. Santa Clara's time with the trophy has lasted only a couple of months, and a path to handing out another one begins today, with our reigning champions playing host to the College Cup on December 3rd and 5th in Santa Clara. First round games will be contested starting as early as this Friday, and many teams want to know right now where they are headed. Let's not waste any more time right now. We dive into the bracket and we hand out top overall seed to a team that snatched it up with a thrilling win yesterday. That would be Florida State. The 2-time national champions are showing all the signs of a program trending towards a 3rd national title. Having lost last year's championship in PKs, it's been a short wait to get back to the tournament. The Seminoles felt like was theirs to win in the spring. The top scoring offense in a loaded ACC just shut out Virginia for another conference title, getting the 6th goal of the year from Clara Robbins for the winner. She is one of 16 different members of the team to score this year for an offense, netting nearly 3 goals per game. The Noles open with South Alabama, fresh off another Sun Belt championship win with a high-flying offense scoring over 3 goals per. SMU gets hosting duties as the Mustangs return to the tournament for the first time in 5 years, bolstered by a strong winning record on the road this season. Then they get to stay home, however, to battle Texas, which earns the Longhorns' 15th national tournament appearance. South Florida hasn't missed a tournament in 5 years and keeps the streak alive thanks to the top point getter in the AAC. That would be Sydney Nasello. She gets to battle at-large recipient NC State, which did enough in the powerful ACC to earn a berth back to the tourney. South Dakota State captured another Summit League championship and a warm weather trip to the 4 seed in this quadrant of the bracket. That would be Pepperdine. What a way for the Waves to return to the NCAA tournament, seeded in large part this year thanks to the top defense in the WCC. Ranking first in goals against and save percentage this season, but don't sleep on top scorer Joelle Anderson either. She has 9 goals on the season this year for the Waves. All right, from one seed line to another, as Tennessee earns a 3 seed in this corner of the bracket. The Volunteers, like Pepperdine we just mentioned, led their conference in all major defensive metrics, besting the SEC in goals against and shutout percentage. That defense led the Ladies in Orange to their first conference title since 2008. It'll be short travel for Lipscomb in the opener, fresh off of an A-Sun title. Out west, an at-large selection for Washington State, posting solid numbers while dropping only 2 games this entire season. And they welcome Montana to the Great Northwest, champions of the Big Sky, for a 2nd straight appearance. Wake Forest had missed 2 straight tournaments, but they storm right on back into the bracket with Caitlin Parks in goal. She led the ACC with 8 shutouts this season. While many of those came out of conference, the defense still showed up in big moments, including a statement 2-1 victory over Duke in the first round of the ACC tournament. That win helped to serve notice that this team could beat anybody coming up in this postseason. Parks will look for her 9th shutout coming up in the NCAA tournament. That will start against Harvard, which returns for the first time since 2016, bolstered by a top 20 RPI and strong record. Bowling Green took care of business to win the MAC and a trip to the 2 seed in this first quarter of the bracket. That belongs to Big Ten champion Michigan. The Wolverines stunned Rutgers with their first loss of the Big Ten season, a 1-0 win in the capper. It was a first Big Ten title since 1999 for Michigan, and Raleigh Laufman was the hero. She scored the 27th minute on an assist from Sammy Woods, her 6th game winner of the year, which was the best mark in the conference and top 5 in the nation. All right, moving now to the bottom half of the left side of the bracket, starts with another 2 seed. This one belongs to Arkansas, which has missed just 1 tournament since its debut back in 2013. The Razorbacks can flat out score, leading the SEC in goals and assists this year. 2.9 goals per game, 4th in the country, ranks among the top of the Power 5 schools. Nearly 9 points per game is also 3rd best in the nation, and they are motivated after a shutout loss to Tennessee in the SEC championship. They host the Southland champs of Northwestern State in the opener. Virginia Tech earns its 11th tournament berth and welcomes a team that was hoping it did enough this year. Yes, Ohio State. You are back in the NCAA tournament field. We stick with the Big Ten, and a great season for Purdue, rewarded with the Boilers' first NCAA tournament berth since 2009. And a lot had to do with everything Sarah Griffith, who led the Big Ten in shots, goals, and points this season. Sometimes one star is all it will take to make a huge difference for a team, especially on comfortable turf. Purdue went 10-1-1 at home this season, and they hope to use that home field advantage coming up because they get to host in the opening round of this NCAA tournament against Loyola of Chicago, the Missouri Valley champions. They come into town for the first round. Same state, another champion, SIU Edwardsville, captured the Ohio Valley again, and like Loyola Chicago, they travel across the border into Indiana to battle Notre Dame in the opening round. The Irish missed out in the spring, but return in pursuit of the program's 4th national championship. Sammy Fisher leads the offense with 12 goals on the season and looking to cement the Irish as a team to beat on this side of the bracket. All right, from the Irish as the 3 seed to TCU as the 4 seed. 6th straight tournament appearance comes with big expectations for a team that led the Big 12 in both offense and defense this season. That typically leads to good results. It helps to have a top 5 goalie in net as well. Lauren Kellett, 5th in the country in save percentage, and she's posted 10 shutouts so far. She expects more. It could come against Prairie View in the opening round, won the SWAC, and will attempt to break through that purple wall of defense in Fort Worth. Princeton adds another at-large berth to the strong season from the Ivy League, returning to the tournament for the first time since 2018 to face Vermont, winners of the America East. An at-large berth for Ole Miss brings them to the tournament for a 10th time, where Haley Stackpole's 15 assists led the SEC in his top 3 in the country, and she will top the scouting report against St. Louis, the A-10 champions here in 2021. Last matchup on this side of the bracket sees Patriot League champ Bucknell heading to the site of another 1 seed, respecting the regular season resume of Rutgers. The Scarlet Knights came oh so close to a Big Ten title, but fell short against Michigan in a stunner at home. That denied Rutgers its first ever Big Ten tournament title, but it came after a perfect regular season and a program record 13-match winning streak. The stunner was also the lack of offense in that championship showdown for a team that led the Big Ten in virtually every offensive category this year. Maybe the loss will inspire a new 6-game winning streak all the way to a national title. All right, that is half of the field, and I know there are many of you still waiting on the edge of your seats to see if your season will continue. We're going to delay the drama just a little bit longer. We'll be back with the right side of the bracket right after this.
There's an energy swelling out beyond the limits of your expectations. A universe where fandom reigns supreme. Once you're in it, it changes you. Instead of one of one, you're one of many. A blissful sea of chaos. Go beyond your limits and enter the NCAA universe. Get your seats today at ncaa.com/tickets.
Welcome back to the 2021 Division I Women's Soccer Selection Show. We've already unveiled 32 of the 64 teams competing for a national championship and a trip to the College Cup. Let's go back into the bracket. We go to the other side, and we see another number 1 seed handed out here. One of the strongest seasons in history for the Duke Blue Devils. The next tournament win for the Blue Devils will be their 40th in program history, but they have yet to taste victory in the final match, 3 times finishing as runner-up. What will be the edge that puts them over the top this season? Maybe it'll be as simple as keeper Ruthie Jones, who led the ACC in goals against and save percentage. She will try to stop them all against Conference USA champ Old Dominion in the first round. Memphis made a storied run all the way to an AAC title, which helped to earn them a home date against a team biting its nails right now, but you can rest easy as we say hello to LSU. The Tigers probably won't hear much of what I say over the next couple of minutes because they're celebrating right now that at-large berth in Baton Rouge. They returned to the tournament for just the second time in 6 years. A 7-1-1 record in the non-conference is likely what bolstered the resume for LSU, including a shutout win over South Florida, whose name we've already called here this afternoon. But a 4-2 win over Arkansas to end the regular season was a cherry on top to make this a tournament resume for the Tigers. All right, we've talked a lot about the Ivy League strength this year, and it was Brown which captured the league and the automatic qualification that came with it. 8th berth in program history, set to host a team that had to feel a little better when LSU's name was just called. Right above them in the RPI, hello to St. John's, making the tournament with an at-large for the 4th time in program history. Samford never had to worry about an at-large. They took care of business by winning the Southern Conference, and that earns them a quick trip to the 4 seed, which is Auburn, returning to tournament play for the first time since 2018, and they do so in a big way with a position on the seed line here. Maddie Prohaska is the goalie. She posted 7 shutouts this season. That was the best tally of anybody in the SEC, and one of several really strong keepers on this side of the bracket. Now, we mentioned stellar play in goal. That's what we see as we flip over to the 3 seed as well. That's given to Georgetown, the Big East champions this year. That was the 10th straight appearance now for the Hoyas. They're looking to match what the men did just a couple of years ago. The Hoyas winning the national championship on the men's side. Could this be Georgetown's best chance on the ladies' side to get it? We mentioned how good they were in goal this year. Allie Auger, she anchors the defense in goal this year for the Hoyas as they look to play their way deep into a national championship run. Auger and that defense will square off against Central Connecticut State in the opening round after they captured the Northeast Conference. Wait no longer to find the defending champions. Santa Clara hosts what they hope is just the beginning of a tournament run at home. The reigning champions of the sport look to make some fun footnote history. They could win 2 national championships in the same calendar year this year. The Broncos enter fresh off another WCC championship, needing a dramatic goal in the second overtime period to take down St. Mary's. Kelsey Turnbow is back with her 54 career goals, fresh off being the tournament's offensive MVP last season. Both goals in the WCC championship started off of corners from Turnbow, and she will need to shoulder the offensive load yet again for a run to a championship. And it is not an easy start for the defending champs. They get Stanford in the opener. This marks a matchup of the last 2 national champions in the first round, with the Cardinal having won their 3rd national title back in 2019. Another grateful at-large selection bestowed on Wisconsin, which makes its 22nd NCAA tournament appearance. Another resume built with a solid non-conference record, which includes the only win this season registered against Milwaukee, a team we'll be calling later in the bracket. The Badgers have Jordan Bloomer in goal. 8 shutouts were second best this season in the Big Ten. And she will face another team with gratitude as Butler gets a nod after coming close the last couple of years. The Bulldogs with an at-large resume returning to the tournament for the first time since 2017. Final matchup of this quarter features Big West champion UC Irvine, which likely knew a quick trip was in order up the road to UCLA for the first round showdown. The 2013 national champions have the resume to add a second title to the trophy case this season. Back-to-back Pac-12 champions, the Bruins remain as the lone unbeaten team in NCAA Division I this season. And with their exit from the tournament last year coming in PKs, UCLA is actually on a 26-game unbeaten streak dating back to last season. The only thing that could make 2021 better would be a national championship for the Pac-12's best defensive unit. All right, that makes a pretty lofty transition to the next 2 seed line when you see North Carolina coming off the board as well. The 21-time NCAA champions looking to add to that title with another run to the College Cup. A high-volume offense got off more shots this season than any team in the ACC, but getting them to connect in the postseason will be a massive key to success. The Tar Heels are maybe just one hot striker play away from tournament title number 22. South Carolina will make it a border war in the opener, its 9th straight tournament appearance. Hofstra won the Colonial and earns hosting rights against another Big East at-large team to come off the board. It's history. It's Providence making its 2nd tournament appearance and the first since its inaugural birth all the way back 28 years ago in 1993. There's been no such drought for 2015 national champion Penn State, which hasn't missed the tournament this century. Experience that will make it tough on Monmouth, the Metro Atlantic winners in 2021. Celebration is still going on since Grand Canyon made its first tournament when it won the WAC title this season, and that earned them a date with Southern Cal in Los Angeles, as the Trojans were the top scoring offensive team in the Pac-12 this season. It helps them earn a 3 seed on this line. The 2007 and 2016 national champions obviously tested with that great schedule out west. Will it be offense or defense that wins the title in 2021? The Trojans are hoping it's the offensive side of the ball that leads the way to victory. Speaking of offense, as we transition to the final page over here, The 4 seed belongs to BYU. Top scoring team in the land, 3.44 goals per game is the mark for the Cougars. No team in the country could top that. Michaela Callahan and Cameron Tucker lead the way with 13 goals each. Both of those marks led the conference for an aggressive offense that also led the nation in corners earned per game, over 10 of them this season. New Mexico will head north to try and slow down that offense in the first round. Our next matchup ends the grueling wait for a couple of teams. Clemson had a resume strong enough to not only make the tournament, but even host an opening round game. The Tigers' 8th straight tournament appearance comes from a really selfless team. They led the ACC this year in assists, and that was despite having only one player that scored double digits goals this year, 10 or more on the year. Balanced lineup, lot of experience. Could be a tough out as Clemson will play at home in the first round of this tournament, and it will be all smiles from their opponent. Hello to Alabama coming to town and returning the tournament for the first time since 2017 by snagging what may have been one of the last at-large berths on the board. No such drama for a strong Xavier team. They got 10 shutouts this year from Olivia Jenkins, most of any Big East keeper to earn hosting duties in the first round, but it will be a fierce battle with Horizon League stalwart Milwaukee. The Panthers leading the nation in goals against and were tied with BYU in total goals scored. First to score, though, may be the winner in this battle of really good defenses. Final matchup features Big South winner High Point squaring off against the final 1 seed on the board. And you guessed it, it's Virginia, the 34th tournament appearance for the Cavaliers, who have done everything you could imagine in this sport with the exception of winning a national championship. Diana Ordonez was a top goal scorer in the ACC, and her 7-game winners is tops in the nation. And a run to the ACC championship ended with that loss to Florida State. That snapped a 12-match unbeaten streak. Maybe that was the nudge this team needed to find whatever it'll take to dig down for 6 straight wins. So there you have it, the entire bracket set here in 2021. And there's a collective exhale from teams around the country that are in this bracket. There's also a collective exhale from a committee that just got done doing a ton of work, and now it's out in the hands of soccer fans everywhere. I'm pleased to be joined by Clifton Douglas. He is the chair of the Division I Women's Soccer Selection Committee. All right, I know a lot of hard work went into that product, into this bracket. What's it like to finally have those 64 teams done, bracketed as we get ready for the College Cup in a couple of weeks?
No, it's definitely, we're really excited to get this one done. I think a lot of work went into it over the last 3 days. I feel like we had some tough decisions. We had some tough conversations, but we're really excited to have what we think is a very competitive bracket. We're back to 64 teams, which is really exciting. And we're just ready to see some great soccer over the next few weeks. You
mentioned tough decisions, but with the landscape of college soccer being a bit more normal from the one that we had in the spring for the last tournament, what did that do to sort of help the committee look across all of these resumes to make sure that, especially for those last few at-large selections, you were able to get the best field possible?
Yeah, no, it was huge for us. One, just to have teams playing more non-conference games, being able to have the RPI at our disposal in the room, just to have those conversations and to make those conversations a little bit easier. A lot more non-conference games being played this year means a lot more comparisons to similar teams that we could look at when having those tough discussions. But the RPI, of course, being one of our primary criteria every year, it was definitely a benefit to having that back this year at our disposal.
You know, just looking very briefly at some of the matchups that we have, we've got a lot of, Power 5, Power 6 conference matchups in the first round. You've got some really good automatic qualifiers, too, from some mid-major conferences that are there. This is one of the toughest brackets to just kind of, on the surface of it, see a pathway forward. How deep is the sport getting right now, in your opinion?
It was very deep, very deep. There's a lot of parity across the country this year. I think some of the leagues that you usually see with several teams in probably might not have as many teams in this year. I think that across the league, across multiple leagues, a lot more competition. I think that across the country, you're going to see a lot of teams with some great matchups. One thing that we had to focus on this year, just getting back to that sense of normalcy, was also the geography. So I think that it's tough when you're dealing with geography and how those matchups come to play, and especially in the first round. But I definitely think we have some great games scheduled. And as we get through the bracket, we're going to see some really exciting soccer.
Well, all 64 teams are hoping that there are travels west sometime in their future when it comes time for the College Cup. How excited are we to gather when it's down to those final few teams?
Definitely looking forward to it. Getting the committee back together again and trying to make the best event possible for the student athletes that get the opportunity to compete in the College Cup is something that we look forward to all year. And of course, it's always exciting to crown a national champion. So we're excited to get out to Santa Clara, some of that great California weather. And we're really looking forward to crowning our next champion.
Clifton, excellent work. Thank you so much for your time. I know it's easy now. You sit back, you get to watch them play soccer instead of worrying having to put the bracket together. Enjoy the next couple of weeks. We can't wait to gather for the College Cup.
All right. Thanks, Will.
All we have left to do is play the games themselves. We will kick it off this weekend with first-round games spread across Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The winners advancing to second and third-round action the following weekend. It all comes down to the 2021 Women's College Cup, December 3rd and the 5th at Stevens Stadium in Santa Clara, California. It promises to be a very exciting postseason, and you can keep up with all of the action right here on NCAA.com. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Will Haskett. Congratulations and best of luck to all the student athletes competing in this year's championship.
There's an energy swelling out beyond the limits of your expectations. A universe where fandom reigns supreme. Once you're in it, it changes you. Instead of one of one, you're one of many. A blissful sea of chaos. Go beyond your limits and enter the NCAA universe. Get your seats today at ncaa.com/tickets.